Welcome to all of our families joining and entering this webinar right now. We're going to wait just a few minutes while people keep trickling in, and then we'll go ahead and get started. All right, it finally looks like the ticker has slowed and most of our families who are online already are in the webinar. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Good evening, if it's evening where you are. Otherwise, welcome. Hope you're having a great day. My name is Grace Sullivan Zirkle. I serve as the Associate Director for New Student and Family Programs. And we're really excited to have all of you here and our panelists here today for the second webinar in our new family orientation webinar series. This evening, we're really talking about safety on campus, but we're going to do it in a really holistic and collaborative lens. And so talk about how does the campus really come together to approach the topic of safety and your students' well-being. So I'm very excited for the discussion. We're going to facilitate this evening as sort of a moderated discussion. So I prepared some questions to ask our colleagues here on the screen. And we're going to go ahead and dive in. I will let our panelists know that I'm going to call on you for this part because I know going round robin is hard on Zoom when you can't see each other in person, but let's go ahead and start. And I would love for each of you to introduce who you are, what your role is here at Duke, and what your office or your role does in the job. So let's go ahead and start with Aaron and Sarah Jane.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Aaron Pruka. I am a police officer with the Duke University Police Department. I've been with Duke for 9 years now. I'm originally from Minnesota. I met my wife in Minnesota at undergrad, and then she came out here to Duke for grad school. And as soon as she graduated, she got hired on right away on the medical side. And I was like, hey, I just got family back home, but I'm more than happy to start a new life out in North Carolina, and moved out here, and Duke hired me on right away, which was really nice and definitely became part of the Duke family. Duke is very important to my family because they've done a lot for us. And Duke has definitely been a second family for us, and we've definitely been greatly appreciative of all that. So my current role with the police department is with our crime prevention division or our crime prevention unit. Some of the things that we do is a lot of events with the faculty and staff and students. We do a lot of, with the students, we'll do movie nights out on campus. We'll also do movie nights off campus at a lot of the apartment complexes that the university or the students utilize. So we have presence on both on and off campus. We have kickball tournaments. We have a Citizens Police Academy that we host. It's been a very popular program for us. We've had over 500 faculty and staff go through the program and graduate the program. And then it became so popular for us that we opened it up to an alumni class, and then also a student class that will go through a Citizens Police Academy. And it's a very hands-on academy where they get to kind of see what police do, especially on a campus level. It's been very positive for us, and something that we are continuing on this semester. We had a little bit of a hiatus, but we're back in session, which is great. As far as the Duke University Police Department go, we are a unique department, and by that I mean we are a hybrid department, which we have police and security working together on the same team. The police officers, they have the same training, have the same powers of law as any agency in the state of North Carolina. And then we have security officers that are primarily in the hospital setting, but we do have several out on campus. It's nice to have the security working on the same team because we have, there's several calls that we get that aren't necessarily criminal or need a police type presence. And it's nice having security there to have be an extra set of eyes and ears, as well as responding to non-criminal calls and emergency calls throughout campus, assist students when they just left their bag in a room in a locked classroom and they need access to it. Security definitely show up and allow that access. Police can have that same capability, but it's nice to have security on the team to assist with that. Everybody in our department, police and security, go through de-escalation training every single year. That is our primary tool. That's our primary go-to whenever we're dealing with somebody, especially in a crisis, is de-escalation. That is something that we train in. Again, I've been here 9 years, and that was implemented in our department over 9 years ago. So everybody in our department goes through de-escalation training every single year. We also go through CIT training, which is crisis intervention training. And with that training, it allows us to identify an individual who's in crisis, what kind of crisis that might be, as well as what kind of resources we can provide that individual. The nice thing we have on campus is we have many resources on the university side with Duke Reach and CAPS for faculty and staff. And then we also have the medical center right on campus as well. They're located on our central campus. So there's a lot of entities that we utilize, and everybody works together on the same team to make sure that the students and staff are safe, they're doing well, and again, to make sure that there's positive outcomes when somebody's in a crisis as well. With that, I'll pass it on to Assistant Chief Sarah Jane Rains.
Oh, thanks, Aaron. That was a really great introduction. So I don't really have a lot to say except to introduce myself to you. I'm Sarah Jane Rains, and as Aaron said, I'm the Assistant Chief of Police. And I'm also a Duke graduate, so I have a unique perspective, having been a student and now working for the police department. I work very closely with the Dean of Students Office and with Duke Reach in supporting students who are in crisis or need support. And we make sure that we work collaboratively to support students wherever they may be. So we help students, whether they're on campus or off campus, and support them wherever they need it and in whatever way they need. And I guess that's it for me.
Thank you so much. Amanda, do you want to jump in next?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Duke. My name's Amanda Rosiski. I have been a staff member at Duke for 12 years. August will be 12 years. Can't believe it. So I work in Duke Reach, and Duke Reach provides comprehensive case management services to identify and support students in managing all aspects of their well-being. So we provide case management services that include coordination of care, advocacy, referrals, and follow-up services for students who are experiencing significant difficulties related to mental health, physical health, or psychosocial adjustment. We find out about those student concerns from students themselves. So students can report themselves. If they're worried about another student, they can submit a report. Sometimes we hear from staff. Family members can reach out to us. We also receive police reports and Dean on call reports. So we kind of have eyes everywhere, and we care about students and want to support them and get them connected to services on campus and off campus. We provide non-clinical case management. So what that means is if a student needs mental health support, we get them connected either on campus with counseling and psychological services, or connect them with an off-campus provider. I am the data person in our office. So one fun fact is that 100% of students this past year who engaged with our office said that they would refer other friends to Duke Reach based on their experience. And the best way to reach us is to call our main line at 919-681-2455. We could put that in the chat too. If you Google Duke Reach, our website's already on there, you'll see that there. And there's also a place where you could submit a report, which just means we're asking you information about what your concern is. Thank you.
Thanks, Amanda. All right, Adric, you're up.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Adric Hardy. I'm one of the deans in our Office of Student Conduct and Community Standards. And I also have the pleasure in serving in our Dean on Call rotation. And so I'll talk a little bit about the Office of Student Conduct and Community Standards. So we investigate and resolve alleged policy violations of the Duke Community Standard. And we also provide support to students that may just have general questions about the Duke Community Standards. We also provide outreach and support to students that may be going through an investigation involving a Title IX process or anything involving our PPD-HRM policy, which is related to discrimination and harassment as well. As far as the Dean on Call is concerned, the Dean on Call is a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week phone that we pass around within the Dean of Students division. And at any day, at any time, you can call that number and someone will answer the phone and be able to assist you. We reserve that number for students that are experiencing some type of emergency or parents or family members or concerned students of other students. You can just call that number and get assistance if you need it. I can be reached personally. If you have questions for me, I can be reached at adric.hardy@duke.edu. And then you can also email the Office of Student Conduct and Community Standards at conduct@duke.edu.
Thank you, everyone, for those introductions. Most of you touched on one of the next things I want to talk about, which is holistic approach, right? We talk at Duke a lot about taking a team or a holistic approach to student safety and well-being. So can you expand in greater detail about how your office or role works with other units on campus to support student safety? It could be an example if you wanted to give a concrete example, but I'm going to open up the floor to whoever wants to jump in first.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and jump in. So I'll talk a little bit about the Dean on Call system. We work very closely with a number of campus partners and stakeholders for the Dean on Call rotation. So one, as I mentioned, the Dean on Call is served by a number of deans within our division excuse me, I'm mixing up my words here, within the division of the Dean of Students Office. But we also work very closely with Housing and Residence Life. And so we're supplemented by our Cs on Call, our resident coordinators, which you'll have the pleasure of meeting during move-in, I'm sure. And then we also work very closely with our Duke University Police Department. A number of our police department members are involved in various calls that we go through. We also work very closely with Duke Reach, as Amanda mentioned, to resolve some reports that may come through. And we also work very closely with Office of Student Conduct and Community Standards to address some concerns that may come through as well as our CAPS, which is counseling and psychological services. So we do all those things to make sure that our students are safe and they feel comfortable calling that number whenever they do need help. And that's the main thing. We just want students to reach out for help if they do need it.
So for the police side, just like Adric mentioned and Amanda mentioned earlier, they'll see police reports every once in a while. So normally when they see a police report, it's usually not a criminal incident. Normally it's a concerned behavior type incident of students who are going through some kind of crisis or having either emotional school type issue that could be a stress type situation. So somebody's concerned about that individual, or they might make a comment that could be concerning to somebody. So something unique about our department is we do concerned behavior reports or suspicious activity reports, which are reports that are not necessarily criminal, but they are concerning to somebody. And we have, again, teams that are between our department, and again, just as Adric mentioned, between the other departments as well, to look into that situation, to make sure that the individual's getting the resources that they need, they're required, to make sure that everybody have a positive outcome down the road. Most agencies don't have these kind of reporting systems. So say somebody who lives off campus has a situation where something's concerning or suspicious to them. If they're off campus, their primary agency would be the city of Durham. Well, Durham City is not going to take a concerned behavior report. They might document it, but they're not going to look into that situation at all. When they contact our department, we will document that situation. And again, we have these teams that look into that situation to make sure, again, there's a positive outcome for that individual. And all these resources collaborate together to make sure that that happens.
I'll add for Duke Reach, if a student does engage in case management, we have a pretty comprehensive intake form, which asks about lots of different areas of wellness. So a student might come to us for a mental health concern, but then we ask all kinds of questions and see that students might be struggling in other areas. And then that'll help us kind of in our work with students and make appropriate referrals and hook them up with different resources on campus that could be helpful that we might not have thought about if we didn't ask those things.
And sorry, Grace. And I just like to add from the police department perspective, to add on to what Aaron was saying, we have a really good relationship with the City of Durham Police Department. And so if a student is experiencing any problems off campus, we have the right contacts to get in touch with the Durham Police and to get them to either to assist us or to work with us so that we can support that student, whether they're an on-campus student, an off-campus student, or living on campus and experiencing issues off campus.
Thank you. I'd love to ask now about what you all or your units, what messaging do you share with students while they're here about their safety, right? What can our students do to take care of themselves in their community and keep it safe while they're students?
I think one of the biggest things as far as messaging is concerned, I always advise that students read the Duke Community Standard. And I think one of the bigger pieces about that is I find that when I'm engaging with students, I ask them, have you read the Duke Community Standard? And they're like, yeah, when I heard from you, I had to read it. And of course, if there's something that you may have allegedly violated some type of university policy, students usually read the Duke Community Standard, but there's a lot of good information within the Duke Community Standard that provides an outline, a guideline of behavior expectations that we have of our students. And so I always suggest reading that. But one of the more important pieces of as far as safety and wellness is concerned, that I always advise students to read within the Duke Community Standard is talking specifically about alcohol and other drugs. As it relates to our health and safety initiative, or otherwise known as our amnesty policy. And so the amnesty policy or our health and safety initiative reads that formal disciplinary action for a violation of possession or use of alcohol or other drugs will not be taken against students for whom medical assistance is sought, or those who seek medical assistance for themselves or for others. Students who are alleged to have violated other university policies are not entitled to amnesty for their non-alcohol or other drug-related misconduct. So what that means is that if I have consumed some type of alcohol or some other substance, we'll say cannabis, for example, and I get to the point where I've consumed so much that I am very physically ill, I'm vomiting, I may be unconscious, what have you. Grace has also been consuming alcohol and maybe some cannabis as well. And she notices that I'm not feeling well. A lot of times we find that students are really anxious, they're really nervous, they're scared about what that could mean for their future with the university. But we want that to be second nature. We want you to call and ask for help. And that is the reason why we have that policy there, that little clause within our alcohol and other drugs policy. So if you take nothing away from this, please, please, please take away that we have this for a reason. We want you to call and ask for help. We're not going to be seeking any formal disciplinary action based on this policy. Now, what that does not mean, if Grace calls for help and the EMS shows up and I punch an EMS officer or an EMS person because I don't want to go to the hospital, that's probably not something we're going to be able to give you amnesty for. But as that policy reads, right, we're not going to be seeking formal disciplinary action against students if they're calling and asking for help on behalf of themselves or others.
Just to add on to what Adric was saying, so when police do get called to, especially intoxicated student, whether it's alcohol or some type of drug, we're not there to prosecute, file criminal charges. We're there for the safety of that student, to make sure, again, that they're receiving that medical attention, that they're safe, as well as to educate not just that student, but also the students who are involved in whatever that incident might be. That's one of our goals as the Duke Law Enforcement Office, again, is for education and safety of the students, especially in a situation like that. Other things that personal safety stuff on campus for students. There's many resources on our Duke Police website for personal safety, whether on or off campus. But some of the main things of whether they're traveling on or off campus, we always talk to them about, if it's to travel in groups, to stay in well-lit areas, especially at night, connect with friends at night to make sure they know where you're going, where you're coming from, roughly what time. Actually, I'm going to post a link in the chat. And this is for our Duke Live Safe app. And this is a free app that family, friends, students can all download. There's a nice feature on here that's called the Safe Walk. What that does is it allows you to connect with that student, family, friend, and basically it allows you to watch them go from one location to another to make sure that they made it there safely. You can also, being that cell phones are so prevalent and everybody's on a cell phone, you can talk to that person as they're walking along. That's always a good option. Something that we talk about being aware of their surroundings. So this helps with that situation where you can follow them. They don't have to be talking to you on the phone. You can still follow them through the app to make sure that they made it there safely. So this app, there's links to it all around campus. So there's many areas where they will see it listed and can download it for free again. Just one of the resources we have for them to remain safe on campus as well.
I know I use the app. I also have DUPD's phone number listed as a contact. And you can do that too, put it in your favorites. So if you need to get a hold of them quickly, it's right there. One tip that I use. So on our side with Duke Reach, I think our messaging has a lot to do with like when to reach out. So if you notice a worrying change in a student's behavior or presentation, or you're concerned that a student might harm themselves or someone else, or if they need medical or mental health support that they're not receiving, we want you to reach out. We want you to let the student know that you're worried about them, you care about them, and that you're reaching out to someone. If it's not urgent or emergent, it can be us at Duke Reach. If the student needs support immediately, it would be DUPD. If it's an urgent concern, Dean on call. Our office is open at 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. So we are here, and let's see what else. If students want to learn more about mental health, we have mental health first aid training that we offer to students and faculty and staff. I'd also like to offer it to parents at some point, just in case people are interested in learning more about mental health and substance use issues. And I think it's important for folks to tell the student that you're worried about, that you are worried about them. We find that there's a better outcome and engaging with our services, or being compliant with DUPD, that kind of a thing, when they know that the reason is because people kind of care. They're caring about you. If you're not in trouble, it's not a bad thing. People just care about you and want to get you supported.
I wonder if I could put our assistant chief on the spot. And I know something I hear from you often is about crime prevention and the #1 crime on campus, I think, and best practices for students about keeping their belongings safe. I think that simple theft is the #1 crime. I could be wrong and you can correct me.
No, you would be absolutely right. Theft, especially of small electronic devices, cell phones, laptops, that is our most common crime on campus. And usually it's when the items are left unattended or when they're left in a room with an unlocked door. So one piece of advice I would give to parents and students is make sure that the doors get locked. Sometimes, the students get very comfortable in their residence halls, and, they're used to their friends coming and going into their rooms and playing on the Xbox and things of that nature. But if they're leaving the room unattended, even if it's just to go down the hall to take a shower or do something like that, they really should be locking their doors. And if they lose their keys, they should be talking to the housing folks and getting a new key, because we might need to rekey their room to make it more secure. But and another place where small electronics often get taken are from common areas. Like if you're in the library or in a coffee shop and you leave your stuff on the table to go to the restroom or something like that. There's also tracking software that you can get for your phones and your laptops. So the Duke Office of Information Technology recommends Prey Project, and Duke has a contract with them. You can register like up to 5 devices, I think. Or if you have an Apple product, please enable the Find My iPhone or Find My Laptop feature. We've actually had pretty good success when things have gotten stolen and people have those things enabled. Our officers are able to help people recover their items. So it's a very important thing to have.
Thank you. All right, so I know we've covered a lot so far, but I want to ask even more broadly, what else from your perspective do you think families should know about your units or about supporting student safety on campus? Is there anything else that's on your mind?
I would say that it's never too early to reach out. So we often connect with students before they even arrive on campus to help get them connected with services. So feel free to reach out tonight, tomorrow. We will get back to you as soon as we can and get your student connected. I also think it's important to know sometimes family members are surprised that we're kind of limited in what we could share back with parents. So if families reach out to us with a concern about their student, we will 100% reach out to the student, make sure they're safe. We can share back with the family member that the student is safe, but we can't give details about our conversation due to FERPA, the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, which is here to protect the privacy of your students. So I think that's just something that's good to know, since students are typically 18 or over and have those rights.
I'd say 2 things, just going back to what I was talking about earlier. If you see something, say something. That's one of the biggest things. Take care of each other. You're going to be peers to each other. And I think the same goes for parent and family members. If you feel like something just isn't right, give someone a call. That's what we're here for. We want to be able to help you help each other. So if you see something, please don't be afraid to say something. And I think the other piece of that would be, if you have questions, just reach out to us. I don't think there's anything wrong with just shooting me an email. Actually, I get it a lot. And students would be like, hey, Dean Hardy, I know we talked about this, but what about this? Is this a policy violation? Could I get in trouble for this? And if you have questions about anything that you see or that you read in the DCS guide or the Duke Community Standard, give us a call or shoot us an email. I'm happy to chat with you about that.
Adric, that was perfect on see something, say something. Amazing work on that. Again, I'll just add this. I know it's been mentioned multiple times by everyone, is to, again, just call. It doesn't matter that resource. Anybody here, you can call any of us. Again, we all work together to make sure that that student or that employee or whoever that may be is receiving the proper services. And again, they're overall safe here on campus.
I think with that, I'm going to start to wrap our time together. One of the things that I keep hearing echoing is this idea that, right, we're here to support you as families. And I know in the Office of New Student and Family Programs, it's quite literally in the name. We want to be a contact and a resource for you over your student's journey here at Duke's. So if you ever don't know who to contact or have a question, concern, we're always a great place to start. Our email address is familyprograms@duke.edu. You can always reach out. We're also going to put this webinar recording online, so you'll be able to revisit it and rehear some of those questions or answers that you heard. But in that line, right, I heard my colleagues echo that. And so I wonder if quickly we could go around and folks could echo once more verbally how families can reach out to you if they have questions or get more information from your department. So let's start with, maybe we go police and then Duke Reach and then the Office of Student Conduct and Community Standards. Go for it.
So with the Duke University Police Department, you can call us at 919-684-2444. That is an emergency or non-emergency. We are 24/7, so we're here all the time. Other ways to reach us are through our Duke Police website. There you can file police reports on there, complaints, comments. Somebody's there to answer that. Also through the Live Safe app. There's ways to reach us on there. You can file police reports on there. Something unique about that app as well is you can text with our dispatch, our communication center. Most agencies don't have that capability, but our agency has that capability where you might be in a situation where you can't make that phone call. Through that Live Safe app, you can text our dispatch center and they will respond quickly, and they can also send an officer to that location as well. We also have over 500 help phones on campus. So if you're near one of those, feel free to hit one of those buttons. The button on the help phone that will go to a direct communication with our communication center, and they will also dispatch an officer to the location of that help phone. You can also email us with the crime prevention unit, or you can just email me directly. Is Aaron, AARON. Sometimes people might spell differently, but it's AARON.pruka@duke.edu. So feel free to, if you have any questions, feel free to send that my way, and I will, if I don't know the answer, I will find the answer out. Again, we have multiple resources we can utilize to get an answer for you.
Yes, and there's also a directory page on our website. So that has Aaron's email, it has my email, it has our phone number so that you can reach us. If you have a specific question that you'd like to ask, please reach out to us and we'd be happy to answer it for you.
For Duke Reach, you can submit a concern, or we call a report, on our website, and then that'll get us enough information to know who the best person would be to speak with you about that concern. Or you can give us a call at 919-684-2455.
For the Office of Student Conduct and Community Standards, you can email us at conduct@duke.edu. That goes to everyone that works in our office. And then you can also send me an email personally. I can be reached at a.hardy@duke.edu. So that's my first name dot last name @duke.edu.
Amazing. We've had a few last questions come in that I just want to ask briefly. Finally. One of them is, I wonder if Sarah Jane, you could repeat the OIT information about crime prevention and how students can, the services that OIT provides to help keep track of technology.
Sure. The software is called Prey Project. It's PREY project.com. And you can go there to register devices if your device doesn't already have some sort of tracking software. But a lot of devices do have tracking software like the Apple products. So hopefully you find that helpful.
And one more for our police department. Does Duke offer student escorting upon request?
So unless Aaron wants to jump in, we do have a really robust transportation service at Duke. It's not run by the police department, it's run by the transportation department, but they have buses that run until 2 or 4 a.m. in the morning between the campuses. And they also have a point-to-point van transportation system where they can pick up students and drop them off within a certain radius of campus. And the nice thing is that the Duke mobile app actually has the GPS for the buses on it, so the students can see exactly where the buses are. If it's cold outside, they can wait inside the building until the bus gets close to the bus stop, and then they can jump out and hop on the bus.
Amazing. All right, families. I just want to echo again my thanks for all of you in joining us this evening, and a huge thanks to our panelists for spending time with us, not just this evening, right, but supporting your students as they come to Duke this fall. I hope for our families that this has given you a glimpse into the support systems that exist at Duke, as well as the role of students and the role that families can play in helping to keep the Duke community safe and our students well. Again, please reach out if you have questions. We're so glad you were here, and we hope that you will join us next week again for the continuation of our Parent and Family Orientation webinar series. Thank you all so much.